Very good evening and welcome to tonight's Undaunted, bringing to the news on George Stories. I am Oyi Okbala. Let's begin. Today, March 25th, 2025, a son of Ambazonia, Afowiri Kizito Funzenyu, stands poised to etch his name in the annals of history. This fearless long-distance runner from the savannah zone of Bui will attempt to conquer the unforgiving terrain of Antarctica, but with a twist. He will be donning the traditional Togo attire of Ambazonians. As he prepares to take on this incredible challenge, we are reminded that, ironically, this feat is only possible because of the good roads in the Antarctica, a luxury he cannot enjoy in his homeland. The contrast is stark, and the pain is real. In Ambazonia, where Afowiri calls home, the roads are far from being nice, a far cry from the smooth, paved path he will encounter in Antarctica. Muddy, cratered reading, and often impassable. These roads are a constant reminder of the challenges and hardships faced by Ambazonian people. Yet, even in the midst of these difficulties, Afowiri's determination and resilience shines like a beacon of hope, trying to show himself across the world. As it takes to the icy terrain of the Antarctica, Afowiri will carry with him the hopes and dreams of his people. He will fly the flag of Ambazonia higher, showcasing the strength, courage, and unwavering spirit of a nation that refuses to be defeated. Today, we'll be a witness to a momentous occasion, one that transcends borders and defies adversity. Join us as we follow Afowiri's incredible journey and let his story inspire you to hold on to hope even in the darkest of times. Before we get into the full briefings of Undaunted tonight, let's get the prime headlines. Alright, tonight we'll start with the report of a 72-year-old man who has died in Colonial police custody in Bamenda. Of course, Afowiri Kizito's history will be discussed tonight as well. Former PCC moderator accuses La Republic du Cameroon Works Minister of misleading public on Baworo-Akwaya Road project during a meeting on the 18th of March. On the African scene, Rwanda moves as president speaks on plans to attack Burundi, while Columbia University student faces deportation over pro-Palestinian activism. Now let's get the news in full briefings. A 70-year-old retired civil servant, Oliver, has tragically died in Colonial police custody in Bamenda after a harrowing 2-month ordeal. Well, according to reports, Oliver faced threats and was eventually abducted on the 22nd of January 2025. Alarmingly, his death is linked to alleged medical neglect while in custody. The incident raises serious concerns about human rights and the treatment of detainees in Bamenda. But unfortunately, his region has witnessed a surge in violence and unrest with so many attacks and security crackdowns. The situation underscores the need for accountability and improved detention conditions to prevent such tragic incidents in the future. The full report says that a 72-year-old retired civil servant Nda Oliver died following a 2-month ordeal involving threat, and finally his abduction on the 22nd of January 2025. From his daughter, the sequence of events began on the 15th of January when Mr. Nda received a threatening phone call from an individual residing in Douala. Despite filing a complaint in whom he was subsequently detained by the Colonial authorities on the 22nd of January 2025 without charges. His lawyer's bail applications were repeatedly denied. Instead, Mr. Nda was transferred to Bamenda and subjected to Colonial Military Tribunal proceedings with accusations of involvement with, in quotes, separatist groups and threats. Medical examinations revealed his deteriorating health, prompting doctors to recommend hospitalization. However, further bail requests, even with medical records, were rejected. On the 20th of March, against medical advice, he was transported back to Wom. Upon arrival, his condition worsened, revealing liver failure. A delayed sick bail was granted, but Mr. Nda died and reached the Bamenda Regional Hospital on the 22nd of March, exactly 2 months after his initial detention. Further revelation indicates that the underlying dispute stemmed from a farmer-grazier conflict, which has made his family alleged was manipulated by certain individuals to frame him. The family now faces further legal hurdles to retrieve his body. Mr. Nda, a retired stores accountant with over 34 years of service, leaves behind a grieving family seeking answers and justice. Just like Mr. Nda, many Ambazonians are suffering illegal detention in colonial dungeons for a crime they never committed. Tonight, we have the privilege of having Barrister Mbeseha joining us on Undaunted tonight. We'll definitely want to have his own share of the conversation. Barrister Mbeseha, welcome to tonight's Undaunted.
Oh, thank you for having me.
We've had a similar story like this. The last time we talked about this, he was imprisoned, and right about now, he has lost his life. And this is not just one, it's something that happens on a regular basis. But of course, not all is being brought to the media. But thank goodness we have a report like this. This would, of course, create the awareness and also send the message of the deep sufferings Ambazonians go through.
Yes, last time he was in detention, and we said that it was one too many. Now he is dead. It is, I don't know how it. But in terms of law, what do you call this type of thing? This is they actually killed him, because whatever thing he was charged for, a crime arising from farmer-grazier dispute, should never have taken him this way. It is a bailable offense. If I thought it's offense, it is an offense. It is bailable. Refusing bail and torturing him and taking him to a military tribunal is just abuse of justice, because that's an abuse of justice, even in the criminal procedure code. You are not supposed to detain him if he's known, if his residence is well known, is available at any time you want him in the court. And worse of all, when he turns ill, what is the justification for keeping him there? And worse again, for taking him to the military tribunal. For what? For farmer-grazier issue? No, that's just torture. That's an abuse of the law. Absolute abuse of the law, for which this man, his family deserves compensation, temporary compensation, because something that happened coincidentally, was deliberate. They kept him for months, and a good prison system would have realized that his health was deteriorating. The detention itself was illegal. His health was deteriorating. Nobody did anything. Cameroon government should have known. If they don't know, that way you take people into detention they become responsible for their health, their feeding. They are responsible for anything that concerns them, their safety, their feeding, their health, and anything that goes with human life. And so allowing this man to die is slow death, is criminal. That should not have happened in Ambazonia. Was all arising from a farmer gracier issue, which have had it should never have arisen in the first place. Because farmer gracier issues are not criminal cases. And of course, once they found him, he becomes an amber. Whatever kind we're charging him for, he becomes an attempt to the military tribunal. By every standards and every understanding, that man himself is not a military guy. He's not a military guy. So what's he doing in the military tribunal? Told us of not giving him bail. Again, this is a total abuse of the law. It should not have happened. In Ambazonia, it will not happen. We hope his family should take some action to be compensated. If it is late, if he's already dead, it requires compensation. It's required to take action. Because action they take might be meant to benefit them as they pay them money, but it's meant to benefit the entire community. If that is done, it will expose the illegality, the criminality, the unjust system in which we find ourselves. I'm not sure that the farmer glacier issue in Uganda, because the America was there, were in the far north and all those northern regions, could have led to somebody being taken to the military tribunal, regardless of dying. And so this is absolute discrimination. It is slow death, slow killing, for which the man deserves compensation. Over to you.
Oh, well, definitely the family deserves compensation. All right, moving on to something that might be interesting, that might sound nice to the ears of Ambazonians for once, but yet it is mixed with some other feelings that will sound sad. Afowiri Kizito Fondenyu, a famous long-distance runner who hails from the Savannah zone of Buyin, is ready to make history. Today, March 25, 2025, he plans to be the first person to run a marathon in Antarctica while wearing the togo, Ambazonian's traditional clothing. Afowiri Kizito, known as the Togo marathoner, has completed 18 marathons across 6 continents, covering over 757 kilometers. Fonzenyu uses his love for running to support the important causes, raising money for education and promoting inclusion for people with disabilities. He is also involved in community projects such as building a bridge in Ngonzen, his hometown in Ambazonian Savannah Zone. Fonzenyu gained fame after setting a Guinness World Record for the fastest marathon run in traditional African attire at the Tokyo Marathon. Through this, he was able to highlight Ambazonia's rich culture to the world. Now, as he prepares for the Antarctic Ice Marathon, he faces a tough challenge. He will run in extreme cold, with temperatures possibly dropping to minus 20 degrees, all while wearing the togo, which could be challenging. His run in Antarctica aims to raise funds to build a school for children with disabilities in southern Cameroon. For Fonzenyu, running is not just a sport. It is a way to make a difference. His commitment to education and inclusion and his motivation and driving force. According to him, he says, every time I run in Togo, I feel like I'm carrying my people with me. Of course, he should feel so. He says it's about endurance, culture, and breaking limits. He says, I hope to inspire others to follow their dreams no matter how hard they seem. With the Antarctic Ice Marathon approaching, the marathoner is traveling from Buenos Aires to Ushuaia, the southernmost city in the world, before heading to Antarctica. The question is, if he decides to have the same race in his hometown, would he see the roads to run through? Right, Mbeseha. I'll direct that question to you. If Kizito decides to have this run in Womb, or he decides to have this run in Bamenda, would he be able to connect through the ring road and push to the world what he's trying to achieve across the world?
That's a rhetorical. He's not going to have any roads because he don't have any roads. In whom he's not running in Cambe, but international sporting, they're running. It's the in Ambazonia. We all remember what they called the Boya Mountain race. It's Boya Mountain, they just go on the mountain. It's also an international event. For the past 20, 30 years, they have had the Boya Mountain race, specifically in Boya. Can anybody point to anything in Boya that's been done to represent of significance to remember this film for this famous race called the Boya Mountain race? It comes every year for the past 30 years or more. And so nothing has been shown for it. If such an event like the one in Boya, 30 years, that the minister comes every year to sit there, return to Yaoundé with a lot of money for his out of station allowance, has got nothing. Do you expect this man running in Antarctica to come, if he's running in Cambe, if he's running in Womb, if he's running in Banso or anywhere there, to have any road to run with it? No. Because first, no Ambazonia should ever expect me a road from them, from road. And so the race, if it takes place, it is today. But the problem Ambazonia in terms of road did not start today. It started way back in 1961 with this properly colonized us. And so this man, I would rather think that he's doing something, if the story is true. He wants to use the proceeds to benefit his people. Whatever he gets from there, if he wins, or whatever money comes his way, he doesn't pocket it. He intends to use it for his own community. Building a school for the handicapped. I'm not sure there are many schools in Cameroon for the handicapped. But this is an athletic sport. Cameroon is known for playing soccer. They've won cups. They've won all those things around there. Do you have anything by the different players, Cameroonian players, and their different, that this one came and build a school, this one built a dispensary, this one built a bridge? I don't remember one, if there is any. And so this Ambazonian doing what he's doing is significant, not just because he is a good athlete, but because in the process of running, he might break his leg, he might fall and get wounded. But he's not interested in that money taken to his family to cure himself. He's interested in whatever comes to diversity. Build is for the handicapped. If the school for the handicapped is located in his village, so be it. I'm not sure his village is a handicapped village. It's just a village. So handicapps from all over Ambazonia, maybe all over the world, will come there and benefit from what this guy is doing. And so it just reminds us that Ambazonians have got certain natural talents. You see, whereas is not just, should not just be described as an African attire. No. It's an Ambazonian attire for being African. And so this man has a lot to present. He has a lot that we should appreciate. He has a lot for us to emulate as a country. And we have these people, Ambazonians are everywhere in every walk of life, prepared to go back home, develop their own communities, whatever talent they have. And so that's the reason why we fight. Because as we speak, either man brought his money today, they were a school for the handicapped, they're going to take half of the money in graft, in bribe, in order of things to certain people to go administrators and whatever. And so we want to get rid of all those things. If that guy came with that, wherever he does in Ambazonia, push him. And we through that one encourage other athletes, other sports people, wherever they find themselves and they're Ambazonians, they come back home, bring the fruits about to benefit the different communities, specifically and at large Ambazonia. And so we should encourage him, We're lucky to have him. He's running the marathon in Antarctica. That's the frozen air cold. He must have wonderful talents. He must have wonderful skills. I think Ambazonia should be proud of him. Over to you.
All right. While Ambazonians are trying to be proud of him, Barrister Mbeseha, yesterday, it seems like Reverend Kier is not going to be quiet this time around. It seems that he's ready to speak out for Ambazonians. Now, I need to give you a bit of that before we get into this next report. Yesterday, we gave a report about Reverend Kier asking the government, the La Republique de Cameroon government, serious questions about the road. In fact, in one of the major questions he asked, he was wondering if governments were not aware of the Womb Road. He was asking who the contractors were. We were amazed that such questions are being asked, regardless of what the intentions may be. Today as well, the accusation by the former PCC moderator against the La Republique de Cameroon Works Minister of misleading the public is out, and they say it's on the Baworo-Akwaya road project. So it says that during a meeting on the 18th of March, it shedded light on the struggles faced by the people of Ambazonia. Of course, the nation, which comprises of all of the sides of southern Cameroons, has been embroiled in a conflict between the southern Cameroons and, of course, the Francophone, who have dominated the government since 2017. What is known as the Anglophone crisis is, of course, the Ambazonian War of Independence. It has led to widespread human rights abuses, displacement, and violence. The Cameroonian government has been accused of using excessive force, including torture, rape, and extrajudicial killings, to quell the movement. On the other hand, the Ambazonian people have tried to ensure that they keep themselves safe against kidnapping, torture, and killing of civilians. And so this war has had a devastating impact on the people, with many forced to flee their homes and seeking refuge in neighboring countries. No infrastructure, no schools, no healthcare facilities, all severely damaged and destroyed. So the controversy surrounding the Baworo-Akwaya road project takes on a deeper significance. The project's implementation has been marred by allegations of corruption, mismanagement, and lack of transparency. The accusation by the former PCC moderator are just the latest, or should we say the least, in a long line of complaints about the road's handling. The sufferings of Ambazonian people are a deep reminder of the need for a peaceful resolution to the war. The world must continue to pressure the Cameroonian government and also everyone here to get into the dialogue and work towards a lasting solution that would address the grievances of all of the parties involved. That was just an intro. Now into the report. The controversy surrounding the Baworo-Akwaya road stretch, I beg your pardon, which connects the Cameroons to Nigeria, has taken a dramatic turn. Former Presbyterian Church in the Cameroon's moderator, Reverend Dr. Funky Samuel Fober, has accused the La Republique de Cameroon Minister of Public Works, Emmanuel Ngano Jumesi, of spreading false information about the road's condition. Well, according to Reverend Funky, the Colonial Minister claimed that the road had been tarred and was over 93% complete during a meeting that was held on the 18th of March. However, information and of course recent images shows the road in its natural state, contradicting the colonial minister's statement. Of course, you can see the road. Reverend Funky has urged residents to document the road's condition and present the evidence to the colonial prime minister, emphasizing the need for urgent action. The colonial minister's representatives later reiterated that the road project was near completion, but the discrepancy between the claims and reality, of course, remains unclear. This incident shows the ongoing challenges, the Cameroon's infrastructure developments, particularly Ambazonians, the poor conditions of the roads they have to deal with. The Akwaya road of the Baworo-Akwaya stretch has significant implication for trade, commerce, and daily life. Well, all the roads, by the way. The Ambazonian road network is considered one of the poorest in the Cameroons, maybe poorest in Africa, right? The delays in completing the Baworo-Akwaya road project. And the lie by the colonial minister in charge of the roads underscores the colonial regime's plot to impoverish Ambazonia with bad roads, given that the road breeds development. Now, it's really nice that the clergies are speaking out. There was a time here on Undaunted Barrister Mbeseha, we felt that the clergies were not talking. I needed to give you the brief story of one of the reports we did yesterday where Bishop Nkia spoke out and asked that very heavy question. And here we are seeing Reverend Funky also, countering what another minister had said. This seems to be, I'm thinking, but I stand to be corrected, that this seems to be a very bold move here by these ministers lately. If we can even get the video of Reverend Kia, just in case you did not see that report yesterday, we definitely would also want to play it here so that you can also see that. Okay, here, this is the video. Let's play the video first for him so that he can join all of the conversation together and give his analysis afterwards.
Womb is bad. My one simple question is, does the government not know? And if the government knows, who do they give the contract to maintain the womb road every year? We must hold that person to account for the fact that the womb road is not well done. We must get the road of womb to be passing. I must say this to you. Commercial vehicles don't go down to womb anymore. Only motorbikes. And to go to womb on a motorbike, you pay 20,000 one way.
I paid that.
And to come back, you pay another 20,000. 40,000 to go to womb and come back. And if you don't want to pay 20,000, look for somebody with whom you can double on the motorcycle. Where do you see this on earth? What have the Menchu people done to suffer like this? And I think that on that
Barrister Mbeseha, these are two different separate roads, but there's one point here where clergies are beginning to speak out, and I think that is one interest that we have begun to notice in recent times. Speaking about the same road that probably they've been silent about for a while now. It seems this road project is affecting every one of them. Compare and contrast. Bishop Funky, Bishop Nkia, bad roads, Akwaya Road and Womb Road. Let's get your thoughts, please.
Well, it's good that the two prelates, two pastors, are now speaking out of the woods. But their narrow approach to the problem is what is at stake. Why specifically Womb Road? What is wrong with Womb Road? What is particular about that? Why specifically from Akwaya to Nigeria? What is specific about it? They are not being sufficiently open. Because Bishop in Bamenda is talking about the Womb Road. From where? From Bamenda? Or from where? Talk about the Ring Road, which is supposed to cover all the 6 divisions of the northern zone. He is a bishop. He goes to Womb. He's supposed to go to all those places. But I think even sitting in Bamenda, Mbengwe, which is just 20 kilometers away, is much nearer. Doesn't have a road. There's no road to Mbengwe. From this, it's not different from the Womb Road. And so, roads are a tip of the iceberg. Maybe on those roads because they have good patchy roads that can even pass through those roads. Let's look again at the Akwaya issue. The road to Akwaya, from Akwaya to Nigeria, he says, there, even though the doctor. But what's important with the road from Akwaya to Nigeria? Why? What are they going to do in Nigeria? Are they Nigerians? Because he's not talking about the road from Akwaya to Mamfe, which is the headquarters of that division. For the past 60 years, they have not done any road there. And so the road from Akwaya to Mamfe is priority. Why Nigeria? Because they will drive on a good road. Nigeria, once they get They drive on a good road, if there was a road to Akwaya, before they get to Akwaya, taking a short course. And so the emphasizing the road from Akwaya to Nigeria is stupid. Shall be emphasizing the road from Akwaya to Mamfe, which is non-existent, not part of Nigeria. But again, you look at it globally. You look at Reverend Funky and retired Reverend and Bishop Andrew Kia. The two prelates, the two missionaries, the two pastors were part of the Grand Dialogue. They were all there. They are part who have been talking about reconstruction in Ambazonia. They are the people who have been singing the choir of normalcy being returned to Ambazonia. And so you ask yourself, what are these people talking about? One moment they spoke of they will do all those things under the reconstruction born out of the Grand National Dialogue. But they shouldn't realize that even there was money for reconstruction, they were not going to dig the Akwaya Road or Womb Road or any road. But their project, which is not even existing, is reconstruction. They were trying to rebuild. There has been no road existing there, so the little money would never even have gone there, because it would be a reconstruction, will be a construction of a road. And so these people are trying to come out of the lies, but they are not telling the bare truth. It's just, the good thing about it is, okay, and Reverend Andrew, they are all Ambazonians, just like me, you and me, just that they wear the cassock. But they enjoy the privilege of the government, takes them as their own people. If it's money, they give them. If it's services like giving them cars, they give them cars. And therefore, they need a place to drive those cars through. It's the tip of the iceberg. There's anywhere in Ambazonia, there is no road there. Where it is from Bamenda to Womb, Bamenda to Gambe, whether from Mamfe to Akwaya, whether from Boya to Minji in the BLM, there is absolutely no road. And so on that is just the tip of the iceberg. It's a reminder that we should never be where we are. We should never have been there. Because we're trying to restore ourselves. I'm very, very sure, nobody can challenge me to this, that if in 1961 they have not recognized us, we would have been 10 times forward, better in terms of road. Because the money they steal from Sonora alone, I don't want to go to Pamao CDC, no. The money that they steal from Sonora alone. When I talk steal, I mean stealing. The one that goes into the private pockets of politicians, not even into the bank, into the account of the government. No. The one that goes to Paul Biya as his personal money, stolen from Sonora, to his wife, to his children and other politicians, is enough to have constructed all the roads in the southern Cameroons, call it Ambazonia. Again, there's no road to Ndian, where the oil comes from. So the story of Ndian road to Womb, road to Akwaya, from Akwaya, is just the tip of the iceberg. But admit that, look, Ambazonia fighting for something worth fighting. We should have fought our department that we had a PWD. We should be able to give contracts to dig the road from Mamfe to Akwaya, the road called Erin Road or Womb Road, call it Camp, call it Mbengwe Road, whatever road. And we should have been able to hold the contractors accountable. And again, I remember the issue of the road from Akwaya. Reverend Funky said, look, they invited me to the Prime Minister's office. I got died that the road had been constructed. I shouted out, I'm quoting him, and the Prime Minister was ashamed, went out, called his regional delegate for roads in Boya, and whispered in his ear. And he came here and said, yeah, the road. What of shameless people are those? Just lying. I just hope that our bishop, our retired moderator, along with other non-believers, along with other that we could get something better out of their own day, will rethink their position. Yes, there are big people in the church, but we should be reminded that wherever they live, where they're in Boya, where they're in Bamenda, where they're in Akwaya, they have their own brothers and sisters, they have their cousins, their grandmothers in the villages who don't ride in the cars that they ride, who walk on foot, who don't even have a bridge, they have hammocks. And so the problem of Ambazonia is just what they are saying, reminder that we were not supposed to be where. It should be a reminder that we have to fight and fight to restore our own independence, to restore our own institutions. Once our responsibility for roads, for schools, and will become ours. We do this, but we must restore it. But at the very least, let us say thank you, Reverend Andrew, thank you, Reverend Funky, for telling the half truth that all what people have been pontificating since 2019 on the Grand National Dialogue on Reconstruction, a failure. And that's the reason why we fight. And it is people who got supposed to be pastors. If they cannot give us money, let them pray openly for us. That will succeed. Over to you.
Oh well, Barrister Mbeseha. I love how you combined that and made your points crystal clear. But we are not even done with the bad roads. In as much as we have a whole lot of extortion, injustice and so many other things bordering Ambazonians, because the rains are here, the road seems to be top on the priority list. So in Mile 14, Southern Cameroon, a devastating accident involving a brewery truck has occurred at Mile 14, causing a temporary blockage of the critical road linking Boya and Muntangene. The incident has raised concerns about the alarming state of the Cameroon's road infrastructure. Well, according to eyewitnesses, the truck overturned, spilling its contents into the road. Locals were seen salvaging drinks from the wreckage, even as emergency services worked to clear the scene. The incident has highlighted the country's notorious road network, plagued by potholes, craters, and lack of maintenance. The road linking Boya and Muntangene is a critical artery connecting major towns and cities in Ambazonia. Let's see the glory scene of that accident. Very sad. This also means that nobody can move across the road, nobody can move from any direction. It's totally blocked. How long will this take to be cleared is a question we'll definitely get to find out when it's cleared eventually. Well, some locals who visited the scene who wish to remain anonymous said that for all their years, they've never seen a thing like this and they wonder how it's going to be done. While the Cameroonian government has faced criticisms for the handling of road maintenance and infrastructure development, insufficient funding, corruption, and lack of accountability have all been cited as major obstacles to progress. Well, in a statement, La Republic du Cameroon government spokesperson acknowledged the challenges facing the country's road network, but promised to take action. In his words, he says, "We are committed to improving our roads and ensuring public safety," the spokesperson said. He also said that we will work with local communities and stakeholders to identify priority areas and develop effective solutions. The question is when? How many more lives needs to be lost before the needful is done? And which areas are considered priority? Because for all we know, every area at this point is very sensitive and needs the attention of the colonial government. All right, Barrister Mbeseha.
Yes, thank you once more. You see, there's nothing like an area of priority because there is no road. But talking about the Mile 14, going to Mutengene, as we speak, Mutengene, Mile 14, Mile 16, Amboya, and Tico have become one single town. You can say that thing is in the middle of the town. And so that particular spread of thing is less than 500 yards, 500 meters. It's a very short place. That small hill is so short. That's not the first time that vehicles have always fallen there. Vehicles have always fallen there. What is one might ask? If they can do that very road, make it large enough, put rails there, put speed limits there, and vehicles will move there. But they will not do it. Not because they don't know very, very well. They won't do it because they don't want to do it. Not because they lack the money. Because on that portion of road, for example, if you go towards Buya, you're going to get a lot of industries. There's a whole water place in Muyeka there, where they bottle water from there and carry it to Douala, take it to with trucks. But they will not do it. Those companies pay taxes. Give it to those companies just to do that here. 500 meters, they will cut it down. But they will not do it. It's not a question of not priority. It's a question of not willing to do anything. They don't care as far as the regime is concerned. Loss of human life has no meaning to them, especially in accidents. And in the first place, nobody keeps an inventory of what is going on there. How many accidents? Go to the ministry, you have no record. They don't care. Is this peculiar with Ambazonia? Certainly not. Track history. I remember seeing this thing we talked about, Faleze Chang, between Chang, where the hill came down, took cars and killed people, which nobody don't even know. Last week they went there, claiming to want to fix that place. And they were still discovering corpses in the ground. And so this is a very weak, it is an incompetent government. It is not what signed up to. We should never have been there. Let them get out. If anything could be above us, we will not be seeing that small hill in mile 14 in terms of roads. It will take us less than a week. Get a 4-lane road on that place. Tar it. Take us to be sure that trucks don't fall there. Things that don't make trucks the road signals, speed brakes. Things that will not make them to fall into the ravine, the road rails, where which can hold the truck is falling. And so this absolute wickedness is not neglect. They know these things. They know it. But they will not do it, first and foremost, because it's Ambazonia. First and secondly, because they believe that we're going to go away. And they say that this investment is not worth being done there. But they've forgotten that the role of the colonial master, wherever they are found, is also to develop the area that they occupy. One reason, once the administrator, you develop the area, that's your responsibility. Because the people that you colonize are paying taxes. They are paying taxes. FACO is the headquarters of the CDC, which brings so much money to Yaoundé. Headquarters of Sonora, so much money to Yaoundé. If something like this happens in Buya, in FACO, ask the question, where is all the money that we'll get? Even if they contracted this to a CDC, for example, they will do that thing within hours. But again, they will not do it. The reason why we must fight. Our resources, if they remain with us, we develop our own country in the way we want. And I can assure you, given the opportunity, Ambazonia will be one of the best developed places in terms of roads in Africa and the world. Over to you.
All right, thank you so much, Barrister Mbeseha. And so it seems like just now that everyone is beginning to speak up, and because we are actually seeing all of these issues, just maybe a little change can be seen. But while we are waiting, we'll just let you go because we hope to have you some other time here on Undaunted. Thank you so much for being part of today's conversation.
Thank you for.
You're welcome. Coming up right after the break is News Across Africa. On the African scene, let's start from Rwanda. Rwanda's move's president speaks on plans to attack Burundi. Burundi's president has told the press that he has seen credible intelligence that Rwanda plans to attack his country. Evariste Ndayishimiye also said that Rwanda has tried to launch a coup a decade ago in Burundi, akin to what it's doing in the Democratic Republic of Congo. Now, Rwanda has already hit back, calling the president's comments surprising and insisting that two neighbors are cooperating on security plans for their shared border, which has been shut for over a year. Despite extensive UN evidence, Rwanda has always denied arming and backing the M23 rebel groups, which has recently seized large parts of eastern DR Congo alongside Rwandan troops. Rwanda has also denied links to the insurgent Red Tabara rebel group, which President Ndayishimiye says is a proxy force similar to the M23 and is being supported by Rwanda to destabilize Burundi. He further added that Burundians will not accept to be killed as Congolese are being killed. However, the Burundian people are not having plans to attack Rwanda, but rather to resolve problems by dialogue. Meanwhile, at the heart of the Ndayishimiye's comments was a call for peace and the full implementation of an agreement between the two nations, a peace deal that had been signed in previous years, but according to Burundi, had not been honored by Rwanda. The Rwanda-Burundi border remains closed after Red Tabara rebels carried out severe attacks on Burundian soil. While the situation with Rwanda is critical, it is not Burundi's only problem. Over to the west, the only conflict in mineral-rich DR Congo has reached a boiling point, with rebel groups, militias, and foreign parties vying to control the country's valuable resources. Ndayishimiye sees this as a leverage to looting resources. He, however, proposed a solution where he argues that all parties should be brought to the table, including all opposition political parties and armed groups, who must sit together how they can create the best future for all citizens. But in his view, it all depends on whether Rwanda will be willing. Moving on, since M23 rebels and Rwandan troops began seizing cities in eastern DR Congo in January, war has forced many hundreds of thousands of Congolese people to flee the violence in their homes. So desperate are they to find safety that some have even crossed the Ruzizi River in makeshift vessels of swamp to reach Burundi. Despite the dangerous journey, killing many people, including a 3-year-old child living precariously in refugee camps. Some say they want to go back to their country, but complain that the Burundi-DR Congo border is closed. This is something Burundi's president denies. However, for the war to end and for the Congolese to achieve lasting peace, Ndayishimiye says the mandate of international forces in DR Congo should be expanded so that they can engage the rebels. He has also stated that Burundi's forces will not be withdrawn from DR Congo until Burundi is assured that its borders are safe. Earlier this month, Southern Africa leaders announced that their forces would be withdrawn from DR Congo, where they were helping fight the M23 after the last 19 were killed. All right, let's get the news across the globe. Well, a Colombian university student from South Korea, identified only by her surname Shung, is facing deportation due to her participation in pro-Palestinian demonstrations. Well, according to the New York Times, U.S. immigration officials claim her presence in the country hinders the administration's foreign policies agenda, specifically its efforts to combat anti-Semitism. Chung, who is 21 years, has been actively involved in pro-Palestinian protests since last year, but her lawyer emphasizes that she didn't take on a leadership role or engage with reporters. Despite this, immigration and customs enforcement officials searched her university housing on the 13th of March, and she has since sued President Donald Trump and other high-ranking officials. This development raises concerns about freedom of speech and the U.S. government's stance on political activism. Chong's situation is a present example of the complexity surrounding immigration, politics, and human rights. But when you have a Trump there, of course, you know what to say and what not to say. But we'll definitely follow up with that and see what comes up in the coming days. But that's not all on the foreign scene. We have some sensitive group that about a potential U.S. strike in Yemen was fortunately not compromised by the American adversaries. However, the conversation on the encrypted chat app Signals was observed by influential journalist Jeffrey Goldberg, which could still pose risks to national security and foreign policy objectives. The incident highlights the delicate nature of presidential actions involving military force. Advanced knowledge of such plans could jeopardize lives and undermine strategic goals in this case. The Trump administration dodged a bullet, but the breach of confidentiality raises concerns about the security of sensitive information. It's worth noting that the use of encrypted messages apps like Signals can provide a false sense of security, while the app's encryption may protect against interception. The risk of unauthorized access or observation remains. This incident serves as a reminder of the importance of maintaining confidentiality and adhering to strict security protocols when handling sensitive information. This is where we draw the curtains on tonight's Undaunted. But before we go, let's take a look at the news that made the major highlights. Oh well, tonight we told you that a 72-year-old man has died in Colonial police custody in Bamenda. A man, Afowiri Kizito, is about to make history in an Antarctic quest. We also told you that the former PCC moderator has accused La Republic du Cameroon Works Minister of misleading public on the Baworo-Akwaya road project. On the African scene, we told you that Rwanda's move as president speaks on plan to attack Burundi, while Columbia University student is facing deportation over pro-Palestinian activism. With that report, we've come to the end of tonight's Undaunted. Thank you for being part of tonight's Undaunted. Sincerest apologies for coming a bit behind schedules, and of course appreciation goes to Barrister Mbeseha for being here tonight. Good night and God bless.